Okay, take number 3. Since apparently it decides when it wants to live stream because of the rain outside. It irritates me. Sorry, I'm just a little frustrated. The rain's a little frustrating to deal with. It's like I'm always live streaming when it rains and it irritates me. But that's what it is. I'm going to be watching myself on here so I know when I have an issue, because on here, even though it shows I get back in service, it doesn't always automatically update that I have service. So I'm watching myself on myself, and I'll just have it in the background now. But when I go live and I, have an issue, it'll stop. Don't worry about her. It'll be good. I have on my neck here, my audio sounds at least better in the phone. I have a new thing to give me like my mic so I sound better versus on the internal mic on there. It's Bauer. They're Bluetooth enabled microphones. It comes with a 2-pack. This microphone I think is a dud. So I'll have to contact them by maybe getting another one sent to me, or trying to go to the Walmart, like going to the store, like trying to get a new one, which I think is kind of stupid in my opinion to do it that way. So since my internet rain outside, I'm using a mobile hotspot to do all my streaming on because I don't have internet in my house. I am doing a live stream about the Enneagram circumventing. This was inspired. I'll have the description like updated later on because rain. I love rain. I mean, I know we need it, so it's not like I'm annoyed about it, but it's more it irritates me just slightly irritates me. And if I turn this also, I'm not like totally draining my battery on here. That's my hotspot enabled. Tune it back in when I'm done. When my little buffer on there says, "Hey, warning, you're unstable connections here." So, excuse me. So this was inspired by a Facebook post I got back in December. I got a reply on one of my posts. I shared Tyler Zach's Enneagram, like, are you like how to love a particular type of person? And I got the reply back sent to me from some random person. I looked into their profile a little bit. They're like a missionary. They have a little bit more of a focus on like mission field, heavily involved in like ministry type of settings. And they gave me a long-winded response about like deception and all of that with the Enneagram and how it's like whatever, like it's circumventing everything. And I'm like, because they were like, "Oh, it's about pragmatics," and I'm just like, I don't think you are. And I delved into like, I was gonna do like an actual review of his post, and I'm not gonna like put the guy on blast. If you wanted to look in my logs, you can find I replied to him about like the Enneagram's origins, and like, I know it's kind of murky, but like it doesn't really pertain to what I use for. Like, I'm not worried about the whole background of the Enneagram, and like even like a lot of things like people say about the faith, like the church, like the Bible, like, okay, so why do we have these books but not these books? And like whole thing with like the whole thing about like the historical significance of like Pentateuch and things like that, and why we don't include like the Maccabees or things like that, and why does Catholicism have these books but we don't have these books, and the Protestant version, like I just some of that's a little more nuanced, and give me the same argument about like, oh, but these are full of the wisdom of God, but these ones, no, they don't have anything. And it's like, well, who are we to declare the significance of God? Like, if you want to make that argument, not kind of like the same pragmatic thing. I didn't go that route with them. I just like, there is some like kind of murky origins, but like not everyone understands where. Like some say, I did a video about the origins of the Enneagram. I linked that in my reply to him. I got no response back. So, but I'm doing a video. I was deep diving. I have another tab open. I have well, that's nice. When I shrink my screen now, I can see myself I can see in my corner here. I got down, I was writing this out. I got 6 pages written out. One of them is like his entire reply. And the other one is like, I started to finally, I cook a little bit, as the kids say. I was cooking a little bit. And the argument I wanted to discuss in this is in the paragraph where he says the Enneagram seems to circumvent the necessity of time, faithfulness, integrity, communication, and above all, the grace of God to understand yourself and others. If I knew your quote unquote number, the system then lets you know what person is like, what that person's like, without ever having to invest in the costly reality of building friendships and deep relationships. And I want to delve into that a little bit more and kind of like, not really like, just kind of like discuss it a little bit more in detail. I have some other notes on here, but I'm not going to be like super relying on them because some of it's basically adhering to like the whole point I made above in my 6-page manifesto, essentially. And it says on here what circumvention means. To circumvent, and this is right out of the Google AI. To circumvent means to find a clever way around an obstacle, rule, or restriction, often by evading or bypassing it rather than directly confronting it. It is used to describe navigating around physical barriers or overcoming bureaucratic hurdles through strategy. And the Enneagram is basically a faster way to help us understand people, understand the world around us. And I said it allows me to potentially avoid relating to the world intentionally, if that's his argument about how it bypasses our relationship aspect. And, I turn myself off. I close my screen. Oh no, I can't see myself. Oh no, there we are. The head just shrinking. I'm just like talking into the camera, and there's nothing going on. No awareness. Just me talking to my background. That's funny. But like going back to the reality. Oh, I'm 7 minutes without having an issue on my phone. So good job. So yeah, basically the Enneagram allows us to, in his words, basically bypass our idea of having if I know you're typing, I'll understand you. And because I understand you, I won't need you in my life. That's what his argument is. And I am still alive, making sure I'm still alive. Yep. Okay, we're good. We are good. We are totally good. I wish I didn't have to live stream during the rain. Oh, now I'm bright. I am bright on here. Awesome. Because like it annoys me to like I preset this yesterday. I was ready to rock, and then nothing. I was like Thanos snapped out of existence. And it's a little bit annoying, like, for me. So like I get ready and then I just get circumvented out of that. Like I have to create a new one and a new one and a new one. Like it annoys me. It's my 3rd attempt at live streaming today. All within like 20 minutes. Because of the rain. But like going back to the reality of like what he's saying in there, it's basically the typings. Like if I knew you're typing, it allows me to circumvent because then I'll basically like understand you. Well, no, not necessarily. Every typing is different. Every person is different. Connection is unstable. Please wait while I retry connecting. Did that go through, or am I still talking into the void? I don't know. Let me see. I hope it's maybe. And did it? Maybe. Up. Maybe. I'm here. Let's see. And did it? Maybe. Up. Maybe. I'm here. Ah. Yeah, I'm here. Let's see. I sound better. And did it? That's awesome. I sound better. Maybe. Up. Yep, I sound better on here. That's the good side. So. And I guess after that first couple minutes, it finally like if that's what makes or breaks it when the signal like snaps off. So basically, like with circumvention, is what happens is with our typings. What he's saying is that like if I knew you're typing, it would basically let me just like know you intimately without like really getting to know you as a person. But that's not necessarily true. The Enneagram is the Y factor. It describes our motivations. Each of us had different motivations, but like different behaviors and actions, but the motivations are what are underneath all of our face, underneath all of our character. Why we do what we do. Why some people are different than each other. And even like in the typings themselves, like for example, with my typing, I'm a 4. I lean more on my 5 wing. My story coach who helped me write down my book is also a 4 with a 3 wing. Different flavors of the 4. And my instinct is sexual dominant, the one-on-one instinct. She's social, a social 4. So those instincts behave differently. And I have some resources beside me. I have the Enneagram's Guide to Waking Up by Chestnut and Urania Paez. And so even like with the 4, like I'll read the descriptions of the social 4 and the sexual 4. So that way you can see like the little bit of that nuance in there. Let's see where I find myself. So with the social 4 subtype, it says on here, this subtype dwells more in suffering and communicates more about their painful emotions. They may tend to be overly sensitive and often appear sad. They express sensitivity, melancholy, and unhappiness more readily than the other 4 subtypes, meaning self-pres and sexual. They frequently compare themselves to others and then focus a great deal of attention on the emotional suffering they feel at seeing themselves as inferior or less worthy than others. They remain convinced that there's something wrong with them, even in the face of evidence to the contrary. Meanwhile, the sexual 4 says this subtype externalizes suffering. And they're often called the mad 4 because they readily express anger. They are often called the mad 4 because they express anger easily, usually in response to feeling misunderstood or deprived. They focus on communicating anger to defend against pain, shame, or feelings of deficiency. This is the most competitive 4 subtype. Their envy manifests as competition and drives active efforts to be affirmed as special and superior. They want to be seen as attractive, special, or extraordinary compared to others. They may have a tendency towards arrogance. So they are both 4s. The social 4 is what you often read, and the literature about being sad and melancholic and moody. But they also deal with envy like I do. It's just when they compare themselves, they see themselves on the lower end of the spectrum versus I see myself as the higher end of the spectrum. Like, oh, I'm better than everybody else. Versus the social 4 is like, I'm not as good as somebody else is. I am on the lower end of the spectrum. That makes a difference. And you may look at somebody and be like, hey, why is this person like, oh yeah, they're a 4. They can't be a 4. Look at how they look at like Brandon's a 4. No, he's angry all the time. He can't be a 4. I look more like an 8. Like, and you may wonder why somebody looks like that. And even like the self-preservation 4. So here's the other side of the 4 that social and the sexual don't show as often. This subtype internalizes suffering and emotions and feels emotions inside, but doesn't share them with others. They are stoic and strong in face of difficulty. They are stoic and strong in the face of difficult feelings, and often sometimes in response to a belief that to be quote unquote loved, you have to be tough or happy to endure pain alone. They are hardworking and action oriented. They don't always feel envy consciously, but instead work to prove themselves worthy. They tend to be more narcissistic than melodramatic compared to the other types, and may look happy or quote unquote okay on the outside while struggling to endure hardship on the inside without showing it. They are self-sufficient and autonomous and try to heal the pain of the world, even if that entails exerting a lot of effort. So the self-pres 4 is a type that's counter to the 4's tendency, because while I see suffering as a way to be externalized, and I want to make other people suffer because I feel pain and I feel upset. And the social 4 wants to have a pity party, essentially, because, oh, look at me, I'm suffering, I can't deal with this, I'm all alone, nobody's here to help me, I want to be rescued. Like, but the self-press for, no, I'm gonna suffer and I'm gonna work to prove myself. As a rag to riches story for me. I suffered. I went to school. Yeah. I think of the grandparents, like, I went uphill both ways in the snow, went to school. I worked 22 hours in a day. I slept for an hour and I went back to it. I didn't even leave work. Like, I think of that type of like mindset when I think of self-preservation because I proved to themselves I was stronger than somebody else. Look at me, I'm stronger. And even now, like, I see a little bit of my flavoring coming out. Like, I'm self-pres second. I'm social last for my stacking. I don't know what my therapist, my story coach, like stacking is. I know she's social first, but basically, like, what that means is, so I mainly act out of self-preservation. I mainly act out my sexual instinct. I want connection. I want longing. I want to be different. I want to be above everybody else. I want to prove that I'm better than and superior. But sometimes when push comes to shove and life gets hard and I can't be my natural instinct, I stoop into self-preservation. And that lets me then like take on stuff, like just deal with life, because life can be hard and I'm self-sufficient. I have my moments where I need people, and I've started to realize I need people because as much as I want to be by myself and not rely on people, I can't be that way with everything because people are people and people kind of suck on the good days. So, but even you see how like the 4 looks differently by every understanding of it. And the wings also play a big factor of that too. And I have in the road back to you by Morgan Ian Crone and Susan Stable as both co-author, called as my favorite book. This is the book that got me into the Enneagram, by the way, if you guys didn't know. And they break down, this is the primer book essentially for a lot of the heavier material. Basically what that means is this book is kind of like your foundational, like this is how each type looks type of deal. Talks about how they may look as children and relationships at work. And so here is the wings of the 4. So my story coach is the 4-wing 3. The 4-wing 3 is so it says on here, the 4 is a sandwich between the performer 3 on the one hand and the observer the 5 on the other hand. 4s with the dominant 3-wing want to be both the most unique and the best. Their energy is competitive, and they have enough of the 3's image consciousness that they become more aware than other 4s of the need to dial back their emotional intensity and quirky idiosyncrasies to be socially acceptable. With the added energy of the 3, 2 things are likely. First, they'll be more outgoing, which translates to being overly dramatic. And second, they are usually more productive, turning dreams and ideas into reality. Both of these tendencies show the 4's desire to be noticed. Often, these 4s have more frequent mood swings than a 4 with a 5-wing. So even then, you see like they're outgoing, they're a lot more socially aware than their other side, the 4 with the 5-wing. And they can be competitive and also very dramatic and moody at times too, like the typical 4. So then you read the 4-wing 5, the 4 with a 5-wing are more likely to be the 4 with a 5-wing are likely more introverted and unconventional. They are very concerned with uniqueness, and they have less need to be noticed by an audience than 4-wing 3s. They are quietly different, often eccentric. They spend more time alone and find it easier to let their emotions be without having to talk about them or respond with some kind of action. So the 5-wing influences the 4 to be a little more withdrawn, a little bit more laid back. They want to be noticed and different, and they don't often care about how they look to the world, because if I wanted to wear makeup and a dress and go to school, not at school, but like I wanted to go to like the shopping at a store, and I wanted to wear a dress because I have a dress, I could, and I wouldn't care about that. But I also wouldn't make, oh, it's not about me being identity, identity feeling like, oh, I'm part of the community. No, I'm just doing a thing, you know. I've gone out to bars and danced in costumes because I think it's kind of fun. And I like how that looks. And I've enjoyed that. People get a little bit more attention out of that. For me, I get attention out of that. I find it enjoyable. Not every type is like that. Not every person's like that, you know. Or would probably be like, no, Brendan, you're a nut. Stop. You're ruining yourself. You're ruining us. They would have been a lot more aware of how that looks versus I'm like, it's fun. I like being fun. This is exciting for me. And they are very different. And I say quietly different. So basically, they're not really often as loud and pronounced about it as other types are. I mean, I'm quietly different isn't going out in costume, but I don't talk about it to people. I'm just living life is probably the most something I can think of. They spend a lot of time alone. I spend a lot of my time is alone without people in my life. And they say about their emotions, and I think that's a key indication here is that normally with threes, the threes are emotion last in the heart triad versus the fives are emotion. The fives are more thinking. So often a 4-wing 5, in my experience as a 4-wing 5, I think about what I feel, and I never really do stuff. Versus a 4 with a 3-wing maybe feeling, but I need to act on how I feel, and then I think about it later on. So there's a little bit of that dichotomy. And with the 4 being withdrawn, naturally they're going to be a little more action less oriented than their counterparts. The 3s are a lot more action first, feeling last, and 2s are feeling and then action and thinking last because they're not close to the head triad. Their 1 wing is the 1. So my 1 wing is also the 5. So I have that access to another triad. So I have some of that influence in my life. 3s don't have that. They're stuck between the 2 and the 4. And, understanding some of that nuance helps people understand people too. It's people use the signs. They're I'm a Sagittarius. And it's okay, so I know kind of what you are. And I think that's kind of what he was saying in his understanding of the Enneagram. I've experienced this for years. I've looked into this for years. This is an older guy. I'm not trying to bash on him because I don't really care about that type of thing. I'm not really one of those people promotes hate on stuff. I don't believe in that. I think it's stupid. And I don't understand why people do it because people are people. But I guess people can suck. So it's the Depeche Mode I heard at Walmart today. One guy, today, this morning. People are people, so why should it be? You and I should get along so awfully. Dun, dun, dun. Copyright claimed. Out of the picture. Livestream is canceled. Okay, Brandon. Okay. And in the end of the day, that's the thing is people are hard to understand. And without looking at them enough to understand how people operate, it's, and getting to know them is also the big indication. But even you read on there, so me and my coworker, my story coach, I say coworker, me and my story coach are totally different people. But we have something in common. And often learning about somebody and being oh, so you're this way. That's kind of cool. And you have the same connection, same struggle that I had. How do you deal with this? And I've used the Enneagram to help me understand people that I don't really know how to read because they're confusing to me. And once I understand, my special person, oh, there may be a 5. Okay, well, I think there are 9, but so I look into the 9s, how do I relate to 9s? And I start using some of that to relate to them better because I think that's how they need to be related to. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not wrong. It doesn't mean it's wrong to use the Enneagram in that context because I don't know their typing and I can't really relate. I can relate to them enough to treat them as people because they're people. But the Enneagram was used often to not like diagnose somebody. It's not like you're putting a label on them like, oh, you're depressed, you need to have this pill, or you have bipolar disorder, you need to have this pill to be better. Or like, oh, you have this and this and this and this. Like, no. The Enneagram itself is not like a typing system in the sense of like I'm putting you in a box. The box is used to help understand people. I think that's how I understand the Enneagram at this point in my life. Was like a lot of talking about it and being invested in it. I mean, I even have like the whole ring to describe the Enneagram. I had this on. I bought this for like $165 off Etsy, and I wear this ring all the time. It's like something I think about. It's something that I'm actively like, something that I'm actively like talking about, thinking about. And yes, I am licking my hand. Tastes like toothpaste. I saw a little spot on the back of the ring. It's like, oh, I need to clean it up. Like, okay, if I didn't care, I'd be like, I would do that like on the camera. I wouldn't care about how I look, and this is live. Like it's gonna be not edited out. Like I remember that sometimes when I'm talking about stuff. Like I can't just say their names and be like, oh no, I just said their name. Because pre-recorded videos, I can just cut off and move on. I can cut stuff. It's a little less challenging that way. And yes, this live stream will be my live stream for the week because my pre-edited video I'm working on is still, I need a little bit more extra work on it. And I don't know if I think I may spend a couple, like 2 more weeks on it because I need to get more B-roll. I need to do a lot more extra footage with it because I want it to be a little different from what I normally do. And I'm basically taking a song and analyzing it, and I want to give it a little bit more justice and a little bit more like shock and awe type of deal versus what I normally do with my videos I pre-recorded. So it may become a back burner thing that I'll publish at some point, but it's not my. I wanted something extra from my monotonous grind of doing the shadow work journal videos because I got kind of tired of doing that, to be honest. So it's like, I'm going to do something a little bit extra to kind of like get myself a little bit more of a fusion, a little bit more inspiringness to it. Because frankly, I can get kind of tired of like recording videos and editing them, and it takes a lot on me. But like, it's not like it's bad. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy making videos. And I enjoy editing them and like looking into researching them. I enjoy that kind of inspires me. But sometimes I get creativity block because I've been doing videos now every week since like February last year. So like it's a lot to kind of like have that juice flowing constantly. It takes a lot of effort to be creative like that. And sometimes what I found, if I get kind of bored, like I want to spurt off into something totally different and then pivot, I'll do that to get my, sense of like, oh, it's exciting. I'm pursuing something new. It's creativity. Excitement. There's some videos I did where I just was inspired by a change. I made it kind of sporadically. Okay, I think we're good. But like there's times I did a video where I was inspired by something and I used my creativity to pivot towards that, and I got refreshed from it. And this is kind of that one where I'm kind of like trying to refresh myself to keep myself going forward until the next time I need that creativity spurt. So, and yeah, I think work's been good. My work has been good. And pivoting into like getting to know somebody there's another person in my life that I'm talking to. She is a new we're working at a temporary job where we're only going to be there for like X amount of time and then kind of bounced out. And she was there before as a worker there, and she got to the point where it's just like, I'm done. I don't want to be back into this. And I'm going to basically be in here and I'm going to be out of the picture. I'm going to go out. I'm not going to be engulfed. I'm just going to move on. I'm going to be out of the picture entirely. At this point, I'm just done. I'm only here for a season. I'm turning this down just a little bit more so I can like kind of just like cling back. So I look like I'm not totally like, we're done here in the picture. But yeah, and I think like with her, like I am really attracted to her. She's like a typical girl I'm like interested in because like facially she's not much to write home about. And I mean, she's not like when I saw her like the first day, I was like, "Ooh, there's something different. Ooh." Like my interest kind of peaked and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like I want to get to know them better." But, I didn't want to just like step into that and be like, "Hey," I waited. I waited and I like approached them slowly. And now we're at the point where with our project, we're remodeling a store. I ended up like getting to work with them like a lot more. So getting to connect to them, talking, sharing. She laughed at my jokes. And like a part of me is like, I really like her and I really want to get to know her better. Like, and I want to be like, I want to date them, even though I don't have to think of dating coworkers. I never to do that. Like, it's just something I don't want to do. And it's like on one level, I don't want to date coworkers, and I still don't want to date coworkers. But at the same time, it's like I can look at people, I can enjoy their company, I can be like infatuated with them, and I can find that like, I can acknowledge they're physically attractive, they're sexually attractive, they romantically interest me. But I don't need to like stepping into that role and like dating or serial dating somebody because like if I had it my way, like I would have dated like somewhere between like at one point it was like 7 coworkers at my old job, like on my one job. I would have tried to serial date like 7 people continuously. Like if I didn't have that, like I'm not dating coworkers, like no. So I would have had like 7, 8, 12, like 6. I would have been trying to date 16 people at one point. Like if I looked at all the years leading up to like where I'm at now with work, I would have tried to date 16 people at the same time. And I wouldn't have cared about how that looked to people because I'm focused on me and what I want out of the relationship. Like, no, it's not okay, Brandon. Like, I mean, that sounds terrible to say it that way, but like, if I had no inhibitions, that's how I would operate. I would act out of my instinct, my wants, my desires. I would have just been free to do what I want to do and not worry about how that looks to people around. I'm looking to see if what's over. I'm looking down the hallway and there's nothing over there. I'm like, oh, there's something over there. Nope, it's just me. I'm just looking into the void. And but yeah, there's this girl that I'm talking to at work, and we're getting to know each other more, and I'm interested in them. Like they're not really someone I would like normally interested in, but like I remember when they their first day they were there, they sat by themselves. They were kind of like doing their own thing, and I was just like, oh, they look different, and they drew my eye, and they used an air fryer for a lot of stuff, and I'm like, they're different. I like this. I want to get to know them better. And so fast forward to the remodel now. We're working more kind of like see get to know them, get to them better. And compared to a lot of people that are there like actively working with us, like I don't have a lot of faith in the kids that are working with us. Like I mean kids like people that are like fresh out of high school type of age range, like fresh out of high school going through college type of deal. And, like, admittedly, like, that means they're, like, 19 to 24 or 18 to 24, like, that kind of age range. In my demographic, I don't have a whole lot of that in my demographic right now. So, I don't mean that with jest when I say kids, but, like, that's kind of my mindset, and I'm pushing 30 this year, so, like, I can kind of feel like there are a lot of kids. Because I mean, I'm 12 years their senior at one point if I'm talking to an 18-year-old. I'm 12 years their senior plus. So, like, they're still kids to me, and like, she's in her mid-20s. I think she's, like, 24, 25 right now. So she's, like, borderline, like, still kind of a kid, but, like, I can kind of relate to him better. And funnily enough, people think I am in my early 20s, like, my mid-20s because of how I talk, how I relate to people. But I'm like, "No, they're just, I'm just thought I'd be a little more older. I'd be a little more mature." Like, So it's unstable. Please. Oh, I see that kind of flipped your back. Let's see if I'm back on here. I've been talking for like half an hour and I feel like I didn't get too much done yet. Let's see if I'm on here. Am I on? Let's see. Oh, let's go back. Whoop. 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 I'm checking. Never good. I'm checking. Oh, I got a Facebook thing. Cool. I just love how I'm just like nonchalant about it. Oh, cool. Okay, this happened. Oh, I got a Snap thing too. I got an Insta. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's me talking about my Facebook. Oh, yeah, that happened. Okay. Oh, I have two watchers. That's kind of cool. I know one of them's me, so there's another one. Hi, if you want to talk, comment down below or respond to you. That's pretty cool. Excited. Oh, they left already. Or that might be me. Anyway, so I'm talking about circumvention, and there's a coworker that I want to know, and just filling you in because you might not watch the whole live stream yet. But basically, there's this girl that I'm talking to at work that I'm interested in, and as I was thinking about him, I was looking at my patterns of how I behave, and so in the back burner of my content, I've been doing this like master video about my special person and my interest in them and their pattern of how they like influence me and affect me, and compiling like my whole series from like all the videos I talked about them in, things like that. And I have behind me, so I can grab it. If I can, maybe pull this up, 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 up. There we go. I have in here literally like, see if I can find my little notes on here. I have literally from my introduction page, kind of like going through the whole area. I have this much of content, this much pages. I have like 6-7 pages of literally just script. Like from this page on is literally just script. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages of script, and I'm not sure if I'm done yet with it. I've been making it for a couple like months at this point. I started doing this back. I started the whole video back in October. And it's already by the time the park opens again, where I'll get to see them and spend time with them again during the summer. And that video has been in the back burner, something I kind of worked on like after I did my main weekly uploads. Kind of like if I had downtime and it was on, but it's something I wanted to work on, I worked on it. I added clips in from other videos I made, added other things in there. So I have like a basically in-ground universe where I talked about my person. And I realized like with that being my background and me being the sexual 4, I've noticed with them when I see my kind of new interest, like talking to somebody, and I get kind of jealous and I want to be like, I'm talking to somebody else. They're leaving me out. Like, Brendan, calm down. You're just feeling your emotions. You are the sexual 4. You want that energy. You're competing for attention, but you don't need to have that. You don't need to dominate the conversation here. Like, and I realized I'm treating them basically like I did my special person at the park, where I wanted to kind of like hog their attention. I wanted to be very much like their only thing. And I'm not going to be that with them. Like, I'm never going to be the only thing because they have family, they have friends, they have other things in life. Like, I'm never going to have that. And that's okay. And like, I realized that I'm built that way where like, I want that attention. I get jealous and kind of envious and I want to like prove myself better than so-and-so. Like, and arguably, like, I'm probably not like gonna be like super like I don't even know if I'll like ever date them really, because I think I'm still the person like I can actually pursue them and not feel like I'm limited to just the whole their coworkers, their dating. and they're seeing somebody like, I mean, I don't know if they're dating somebody right now. I never really got the nerve to ask them. But I think that we were talking to somebody else when we were like working together, and I overheard them over the machinery. Like they were talking about like dating potentially. And they're talking about like they like the older guys and stuff. I'm like, oh, like I mean, I'm like 5 years older than them, so it's not like anything significant. Like, I was like, ooh, maybe there's a potential. Ooh, maybe. Saying, calm down, Brandon. And they left. Nope out of there. That's okay. They're probably just looking and be like, oh, this guy's just talking into the void. Okay, he's rambling. He says nothing, whatever. I'm like, there's a lot of live streams I pass on like the short speed and stuff. I'm like, oh, they're live. Oh. And it's just like people like, I gotta get like a listen, but then they're just like, no, just calm down. It's all good. But that's surprising I held their attention for that long. So it's really just me on my phone, and my phone just like out of the picture, you're out of there. Like, whatever. But literally, like, I've noticed with them, I'm very enthusiastic, very interested in them. I want to get to know them better. And a part of me is like, I want to tell them I really like them. Like, romantically, but it's like, it's really been like, I've known them for literally like 2 weeks. And I'm like, I'm going to date them. I'm going to marry them. I'm going to have kids with them. And it's like, Brandon, you don't even know them. But that's my instinct. That's how I am as a 4. Like, I'm like, oh, it's romantic. I want to be like, like I with me being a 4, like I'm idealistic, I'm romantic, I have a lot of feelings inside. And my feelings are often supersized. So for me, like having this whole like, I want to be everything for them, like it's not necessarily like the case. I gotta calm down. I gotta be chill, calm, tranquil. I gotta have that like calmness. I can't necessarily be that way all the time. Like, I can't. So, but I think realizing that and noticing that pattern is something I've had to experience and work on. And also realizing I see myself as a person in that person I'm talking to now, and realizing, oh, I'm interested in them. I want to get to know them. I want to be intimate with them. And I think if knowing that they're like myself as a person and knowing myself as a person is probably a 9, though I really think this other person's a 5 because they act alone differently than my person would be. Like they're a little more assertive. They actually get some gumption to get things done, and they tackle problems kind of head on. They're not like a person is. They're a little more supposed person, a little more like kind of like stubborn, resistant. They kind of get some pushback. They're a little more like, don't want to push any boundaries, but like I don't want to do this, and they don't want to like voice that to people, and they'll nag and talk, and like I feel like with my special person, I think they're a lot more of a 9 than I think they are a 5 at this point. I think my new interest is a 5, not necessarily a 9. And it helps me understand if I think they're this type thing, helps me understand, oh, so they act this way. They're going to be a little bit more different. And I think of like what we just said, I passed this book, Enneagram's Guide to Waking Up. Sorry, Enneagram's Guide to Waking Up. It's not Enneagram's Guide to Waking Up, but it's close enough. So, when I talk about the 5, some of the things that happen with the 5 are, so some of the traits about the 5 is you focus much of your attention on learning new things as an end to itself, not necessarily as a means to achieve something else. I appreciate they consume more information or knowledge than the average person does. It's permanent for you things to be logical and that they make sense. Very much head-oriented. You believe you'll be depleted. People keep asking you for things or share their feelings with you, so they're a lot more introspective. They have a smaller social battery. You actively seek to have control over your time. You're sensitive to having to participate in interactions that last longer than the amount of time you want to give them. Like, they're currently with family right now for this weekend, and they're just like, I want to go to sleep. I value my sleep. Like, I value this and I can't get it. Like they're just, it's a little funny thing. Like not necessarily but people are fives are like that normally. They have the deadly sin is avarice or stinginess, and coupled with their social battery being smaller than most of the typings, they want to have their time prioritized and designated. They don't want to have all of this like I'm only here for X amount of time and these people are draining me and I'm just totally like out of it. I want to be able to focus. I want to do stuff. I want to enjoy. So we detach to observe things and people from a distance to understand what's going on. They don't want to be actively in the middle of a lot of things. They want to sit back. They want to engage and interact with the world around them from a withdrawn perspective. It's similar with fours. Meanwhile, fours withdraw because their emotions are at stake. At least my emotions are at stake. And that's why I withdraw. And sometimes I withdraw to get people's attention because I want them to chase me. Fours have that push-pull dynamic like a cat does. They want to be close and then want to pull back. And then when they pull back, they want you to chase them. And then they get mad. And it cycles again. So, something about being a four. But like seeing some of these things about the five, it helps me understand, oh, so maybe they need to like just kind of be. Or another thing, you consistently worry about maintaining your private space and time, and you avoid demands being made on you by the outside world. So like they value having that like privacy, that's part of their avarice. I think having that avarice and being a lot more aware of their personal space, their private time, their public time. They want to engage in like their own introspection. They want to engage in thinking about things and conquering things. And if you know the triads, like not just the body centers and like not just centers of intelligence triad, the head, heart, body, but like things like the competence triad or the reactive triad or the harmonies, the harmonics, the Hornevians. Like if you know them, you can also understand like more about a person versus like if you didn't know them, you just knew their typings, you'd be like, oh, why are they withdrawing? Like if you didn't know fours are withdrawn, the same as fives and nines, you would wonder like why is this person kind of pushing back and why are they withdrawing? Why are they like this? Are they because they're this typing? You might not pick that up immediately. Or fives being in the composite triad, like when there's a problem, they want to solve it. They want to fix it. They have this, I need to get things done logically. I need to do this. They're similar to ones in that regard. And threes are actively doers. They also, fives, when they're in stress, they go to 7, I think. Yeah, because their wings are 7 and 8. Not their wings. Their paths or integration is 7 and 8. So they go to 7 when they're stressed out. And so they may have like eclectic, like sporadic interests. And they may like super get onto like all kinds of like quirkiness to it versus when they're strong and they go to 8, so they're a lot more challenging. They can be a little more assertive. And the funny thing is 7s are also assertive too. It's just they may be a little more like, hey, did you know about this new thing? And like they may go into like this whole like new interest in like Pokemon or Naruto or I'm into the finance scene and like something totally random, and they may use their knowledge to like harness all this information. But then like unlike the 7, when they're leaning into 7 and stress, they may use it to be like a stress reliever. Is their knowledge about things like, oh, I have this knowledge, I want to challenge somebody's perspective. And I've seen a little bit of that with them and relating to people around them. Tiny little bit. I didn't see a whole lot of it. Or even like similar enough with 8s, they're also relationalists. So 8s want to relate to the world by pushing towards people and helping them, powering them to move forward, or sometimes pushing past people to get to what they want to do. 2s relate to the world by going up beside somebody and helping them walk through because they're the helper. I want to help you. And so they'll pony up beside somebody and be like, oh, I'm your cheerleader. I'll support you. I'll take care of you. We're like, 5s, because they're withdrawn, are also relationists because they use their knowledge to impart on people. And they'd be like, oh, because I have this knowledge, here's this knowledge. Take it. And then like connecting and sharing knowledge with you, I'm relating to you as a person. We're connecting, we're bonding. We're having that connection. That's how a lot of the just triad relate. I am in the idealist triad alongside of ones and sevens. I think that's the same. It should be the same triads themselves. I did a couple of videos on triads. I'll link them below if I remember to. But like that's kind of what a lot of the numbers relate to. A lot how other types relate. I, as an idealist, see the world as it could be better because of the excitement engaging in life. I want there to be nothing missing. In an ideal world, we would have all the stuff we need. We need to have like, so for example, remodeling with our store project. In an ideal world, we would have all of our equipment, all of our tools. There'd be no one in the way. We would all have this designated plan. We would all be on the same page. There'd be nobody complaining, no bickering, no sidelining, no conflict. There'd be nothing that goes out of whack. And, you know, we would have everything done right the first time. It'd be all said and done, squared away. Reality is, that's not how that works. Because we don't always have all the tools we need at the same start of the day. You know, it's our first week of remodeling. We're not going to have it all together on the first week. We're going to have to get tools sent in. We're going to have to get equipment sent in. We're going to have, you know, everything else added on. And plus, then we have the new added on extension to the building. We're going to have to move stuff down further on. So like, well, we just moved 3 times. We're going to have to move again because we're going to expand that horizon. Like, so having that like sense of remodeling and like having that disjointedness, like kind of like struggles a lot. It's hard. And you know, you can see like the one in the sense of like there shouldn't be any issues where everything kind of like sat down. But then they could be like, it could be better because in a better ideal world, we would have all the tools, we would have all of the connections, we wouldn't have anything missing in that, we wouldn't have any, you know, conflict. We'd all be on the same page because, you know, we could be a team, coordinated machine, pushing power, you know, all of that fun stuff. You know, on the 7, it'd be like, oh, we can do this and this and this and this, and we can have all the excitement going on, and we can have that, like we can have marble tile on the ground, and it'd be awesome, and you know, we can have new shelves and new signs, and it'd be sparkling and colorful, and you know, we're doing the walls again. We're gonna put them in neon pink, and you know, that's what a 7 may feel like during a remodel project. Like I could assume, but the 7s, like in an idealist sense, are looking at better possibilities and exciting possibilities and what's better and what can be improved on. Similar to how the 1s may act and the 4s may act. It's just the focus is on different little things about them because of how their core typing is. So that's how that manifests a little differently. But if you didn't know those types, you wouldn't automatically connect with that. Yes, I have a whole gallon of water. You know why? Because, well, frankly, because I don't have a lot of water in my house right now. But it's all natural spring water. So all natural spring water. Paid like $187 for this. So I think no, $137 for this. Enjoy the ASMR real quick. I can only imagine how loud that sounds with the mic being right here. I can only imagine. I'm a pretty loud gulper, so I've always been that way. Even when I'm not like actively doing a whole lot with like I drink pretty loudly. There's even time to do a pre-recorded video, and like so I'm standing right back here. The camera's in the middle of the room, and I'm gulping. You can hear it pick up on the mic, pick up on the phone. And you know, it's one of those things like that's what happens. And even like relating to somebody, like because I know they're typing, going back to, I told you I'm kind of like conscious thoughts kind of stream. When I think of like my special person, and I think of this new interest in my life, I think we're good. Okay. Like when I think of myself as a person, I think of my new interest in them and my love interest in this new person in my life. I kind of want to be engaged in. And if I understand their typing or I think I know their typing, I like to them better because I don't want to like I don't want to dismiss them. I don't want to diminish them. I don't want to overseed on them. I don't want to push myself onto somebody because it may push them away from me. And maybe that's manipulative. It may be. Like in the sense of like I'm using them to like I'm using what I know to like get what I want. Like maybe, but like it also helps me relate to somebody better. And I think of like when I realized my first interest I had at work when I was in retail before, she was an older woman. She was happily married. She transferred down from another location to work at our store, and I was heavily interested in her. I was attracted to her to like get with her, and this was before I really got interested in the Enneagram and like actively learning and engaging in it more. It's kind of like I knew what I was, but like I didn't really like. I didn't learn as much as I did now recently, with the whole year I've been doing Enneagram content, and I didn't know much about the other typings because I never looked into them more. I know like basically what they did, how they acted, but like I didn't know like the nuances in it. And I realized when I look back on my relationship with them, like I was not a good friend to them. I don't know why they put up with me for so long because they were coworkers, and then we just stopped talking like last year when everything happened. Like I got ghosted, and now it's just we don't talk anymore. But like as a 4, and I think they were probably a 5. I think they were probably were a 5, and I realized I mistreated them because I didn't give them space. I didn't give them time to process stuff on their own. I treated them kind of badly. I did a holiday episode with the 5s, and I made a public little thing on my video like, hey, so if you ever see this, I'm sorry I treated you wrong. I was not a good friend to you. And if I knew this stuff before, maybe I would have done this differently. I'm sorry. I pretty much did that little PSA type of thing, right? Made like my apology to them. And I had like background piano music in the background for it. I'll probably link that below if I remember to. And ultimately, like I feel like a lot of us end up struggling with life a lot type of regard because reading people understand people grasp, and we use tools like the MBTI, the zodiac signs, the Chinese calendars to like it's like, are you born in the year of the rat, the year of the bull, year of the cock, the rooster? Not something else, guys. That's the name of the animal. It's a cock. When the cock crows 3 times, it's a rooster. Yeah, I forgot I was live for a minute. It's like, oh, shoot, I gotta explain this before I just go on like nothing happened. Yeah, anyway. But like, unlike those things where they're a little bit more like spiritualized for sake of argument, like when you understand the person through the lens of like the Enneagram, it helps you understand, oh, they relate this way. Okay. And unlike other things where they're predisposed by a certain thing, like for example, you have to believe in zodiac signs to really like be invested in them. You have to be involved in like the Chinese New Year to fully understand the Chinese New Year. You got to be invested in that. And you got to kind of adhere to that. Like I'm assuming a lot of Orientals actually like follow the Chinese New Year almost religiously. The same way we would follow like faiths like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, things like that. And even like faiths, like religions, have a similar thing that I was accused of. Understanding like trying to bypass people. If you read the book of Proverbs, it talks about a lot about like there's different like examples of people, and they use things like the sluggard or the fool or the wicked man and they give titles to people similar to what the Enneagram does by typing somebody. And if you know, oh, this person's a fool. Oh, I shouldn't engage in talking to them because they're a fool, and it's pointless to argue because they're a fool, or oh, somebody's wise, I need to like ally myself with them because they're wise and they'll give me knowledge, like they'll pass on their wisdom to me. Like you can almost bypass knowing people if you automatically connect their typing, or they're not like typing, but like connecting their title to them. If I know that so and so is a fool, and it says not to talk to them because they're a fool, they're gonna like just be stuck in their path, then why bother talking to them to begin with? Why bother engaging with them? The Enneagram types people by their behavior, but the motivation behind the behavior is the reason why they're that typing. Every type does the same thing. It's just a matter of like how they feel when they do it. For example, washing dishes, like hand washing dishes. I find it kind of fun. I enjoy it. Other types may do it like a 2 may do it because they're serving a partner and it helps them feel useful. 1 may do it because it's what they're supposed to do, because it's, I have these, I made the mess, I gotta clean it up, it's what I'm supposed to do. The 8s probably do it and then they'll be like, I'm doing it my way, get out of the way, I'm gonna do this because I need to do it and I'm the only one that can do it right. You guys can go off. They may act like that. 7s may be like, I gotta do dishes. Why? Terrible. Just terrible. And Tom LaHue did in some videos where he talks about like some of his jobs he's had in the past. Like there was a point where it was a dish boy, and he said he dreaded the job so bad. He wanted to get out of the job and do other things, and he didn't want to be stuck in there. But like that's how like different motivations. Excuse me. I've only been up for like 3 hours because I worked in the night, so I don't know why I'm yawning already. Jeez, I had a cup of coffee, water. I don't know why I'm tired. I mean, it can't be because I'm in a like semi-dark house. Like there's darkness behind me, there's darkness over there. Like I don't know. Yeah, but like knowing the person's typing and their motivations, it helps you understand better why somebody acts the way they do. And not everybody's be like a believer in the Enneagram. My boss at my part-time job at the park, which is now like I'm doing like full-time work now. But like at the park, like he's an 8. And anything against a bunch of pseudoscience, and it's like full of crap and it's not really much to take in. Like it's just a crock of But knowing he's an 8, that makes sense. Because 8s are kind of resistant to the idea of like help, and even some of the people have said like I don't really have a lot of 8s in my like groupings when I do Enneagram content, because they don't really they don't think they need help. Like 8s and 3s are probably two of the types that don't like actively seek help or Enneagram counseling or therapy, because they don't Enneagram coaching and therapy, because they need to have the help. 8s are superpower people. They use their anger to push and motivate and bulldoze to get what they need. 3s are more actively on doing and status and how they look, and they're image focused. And because they want to accomplish stuff, things like their feelings and sitting down and just talking about things pushes them down and it slows them down. Who wants to do that? I don't want to do that. Talking about my feelings. Feelings. What are feelings? I gotta put my time into the boss's office. I gotta be the CEO of the company. How about sales and numbers and stuff? I can't do that while I'm sitting behind a therapy desk. Or getting coached because I'm, just some tired person. I gotta push money. I gotta keep working. I gotta work 22 hours a day because the boss needs that, because it's good for the company. I gotta be constantly on the work. Constantly doing stuff. Like I can't sit and be. I gotta promote. I gotta do stuff, and I gotta keep going. No, it's not necessarily true. Oh, jeez. Ugh. Man, I'm tired. I've been talking for like an hour and some, so I don't know why I'm tired already. Like, yeah, I think a lot of things with like understanding the Enneagram and like knowing why people act the way they do helps us like rate somebody better. And not everybody's gonna like inherit the Enneagram and understand it and like relate to it, but ultimately, if you believe the Enneagram and you believe in it, every person in that, every person behaves a different way and participates a different way. And I often realize like when they're looking at the Enneagram and they read it more, like, oh yeah, I'm this type. And it connects with them. They've always been that type, but they weren't ever like quote unquote diagnosed with it. They were never like named their typing. Like I always been a 4. And looking back on my earlier years, I can see that. Like, oh, that makes sense. Like, even like, so I'm gonna give you a photo. Didn't know the Enneagram really at this point in my life. It was just kind of going through life. Warning, connections unstable. Really? Really? Huh. Am I alive again? Huh. Oh, I guess I am. Am I alive again? Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. So basically at this point, I was doing I'm gonna turn you down, Brandon. So this is before I realized I was a 4. I worked in a warehouse. I've been there for all this time in my life. I, liked expressing myself differently. I was very flamboyant. You say flamboyant. I think flamboyant is a good word. And I'm pretty expressive and dramatic and whatever. Oh, I'm going through here, I guess, in this tab. Let's go down, further, bam. So literally, like, so I'm gonna show up for like Olympics. I have like the workplace's shirt on, and I'm not gonna like just like put them on blast because they were the ones that let me go the first time in September. That was me, you know. And I have like the beads on. I have the skinny jeans. Like I think they're ladies' jeans. Like this little like women's shoes. I did like the whole thing like a sash type of deal. Like I was living in my like this is exciting type of deal. I was like I stood out. So yeah, like I stood out like a sore thumb. But that was kind of like how I operated a lot of the time. I was pretty flamboyant, string bat, exciting. Meanwhile, when you see me in every day, I am literally like this photo here. I'm in the background, focused on my stuff behind me. I'm just so fixated. I'm not even like focused in on. I'm just a blur here. But that's kind of how I operate a lot of the time. I'm just in the zone, like I'm just there. Like this is one of my church's photos. Like I'm literally in the background, like dead center of the frame, background blurred out, like because it's like when I'm back there, I'm actually doing stuff. I'm behind the scenes. Like that's how I operate a lot of the time. But I'm on the inside. So I think I'm scrolling the wrong way, but okay. I probably am. Oh. Meanwhile, I'm on the inside. Hey, Sorry, let me get better. Hey, that's kind of like what I do on the inside. And I'm one of those people like I enjoy that shortness. I enjoy that connection. I enjoy being kind of exciting. And at the end of the day, like I enjoy having that connection, enjoy that creativity. And I've always been a 4. If that photo doesn't prove I'm a 4, I don't know what does. Like I've always been a 4. And I've never thought myself as creative or artistic at all. Like, even now I'm kinda like, I'm not really creative, like, in the sense of, like, I think of, like, creativity as in, like, art and painting and all of that fun stuff. Because I think of, like, 4s as poets and artists and, you know, writers, and I'm not gonna be that. I'm never gonna be like that. I just make YouTube videos, like, I make videos for, like, social media, like, I'm not creative in the slightest, but I am. My issue is I have a hard time getting it from in my head to, like, getting it on my hands and putting it into reality. Because, like, when I have ideas, I think of, like, kind of like, I have like, let's say I have an art idea. I have this, like, super realistic type of approach to how I think of things, and I want that to, like, pop and clamp and excitement, and it's like, I can't get that. And I get mad about it because it's not gonna be ideal, and it frustrates me. So, that's the frustrating part with me being a 4 is, while other people, like artists, there are some artists who are really good and they're able to, like, make things pop. I know one of the girls I was kind of interested in for a while that I matched on Facebook dating with way back when. She has a YouTube channel on her own. She's a little more she's got more subscribers than I'll ever have, like, at this point in my life. But she's still relatively, like, younger, and she's been on to YouTube for 5 years. She does a lot of vlogging type of stuff, sharing her life and her experiences with, like, chronic illness, things like that. But she is creative, and she did a short recently on, I think I saw it on Instagram, and she shared it on YouTube Shorts and whatever, where she has getting into metallic paints. I didn't even know they were a thing. And she has been, like, making shorts with that, like, doing some photos with that, and, she does a vlogging. She had her own business at one point that she had to step down from because of her illness, like, and she's younger than me. She's, like, in her early 20s, I think, at this point, because she was in school, like, in 2020, like, college. I think she's, like, 27, 28, something like that. She's roughly the same age as I am, and, we talked a little bit, but then it kind of fell to the wayside. I don't even know if she even knows I exist anymore, but we talked, and that kind of just, like, went to the wayside, and then she moved on to other things, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here, hey," nothing at all zooms in ever. Like, it's just, like, that's the thing that I, like, it's whatever, fine. And, I think of her as, like, creative. I think of her as the artist, the creative person that can put, like, realism into stuff. I don't think of myself as creative in that regard. I think the most I've ever get to is, like, YouTube videos where, like, I have edits and I have, like, kind of like this surrealistic image because I can actually imitate that in real life through software. Like, I use Splice for a lot of my videos, and I'll probably at one point I want to upgrade to a multi-streaming platform because I don't know how to stream from YouTube to other outlets. But I figured I can just link my live streams from Facebook to here because I don't have the live stream capabilities to do, like, multi streams right now. Because I want to have, like, well, well, like, ultimately, like, if I was doing, like, the multis, I have to have, like, a paid program to do that, I think, and I don't really have I can't afford it, but, like, I have a whole lot of other stuff I need to tackle before I deal with that type of aspect. So, having that regard is kind of the thing I need to, like, remember. Or even, like, merchandising. Like, I have merch. I So recently I ended up creating I have a fourth wall page on fourth wall called Enneagram Talk with Brandon. Go to www.enneagram-talk-with-brandon.com shop.fourthwall.com, and you'll find my merch page. And I created a journal. Like I decaled a journal. Bam. And I wasn't expecting a whole lot of it, but if you look at it, like, it pops, it looks cool. This is the closest I'm ever gonna get to, like, being creative. Like, and I have other things on there. I have some T-shirts. I didn't like the mugs that I have. I have to actually, like, look and see if I have, like, oh, I went gray all of a sudden. That's kinda cool. I went gray. It's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm turning gray like the book. That was kinda funny. But, like, I did creativity with that. Oh, I have color again. Okay. Now I'm back to gray. Like, I can be gray. I don't care. And, like, I created, like, mugs, and I ended up unlisting them for now because I don't know how, the decals with them, like, I can't have the image uploaded, and it frustrates me a little bit because I need to have, like, a better software for that because my Chromebook does not support that type of my Chromebook does not support that in the slightest, and that's frustrating. So I have to have, like, software downloaded onto it to actually, like, get those images rendered. But, like, I have shirts, mainly, like, a lot of, like, summer stuff. Like, I have tank tops. I have some women's ones. I have some guys' ones. I have one guys, one girls. I have a crop top for the girls. And I was gonna probably do, like, some more, like, T-shirts just because it's getting in that time of the year where it's gonna be summertime. People are gonna hopefully buy that type of thing. I had that journal. The journal is like $24, so it's a little more pricey, but you're also paying for the decal, and I get a little bit of a commission from it. Like, I paid, like, I did it for myself, like, full full blast, like, full thing, because I had no, like, I couldn't find my sample link, so I got, like, a discount on it out of the $32 I paid for, with the tax on it. So, like, in reality, like, I'm making $9. It's not a whole lot, but, you know, I got 3 of them sold. I already had, like, $21, $27, bam. Oh, I made money. Okay, that's kinda cool. And, like, I don't really wanna make a whole big profit margin 'cause I don't wanna be all about making money for myself. Like, but I know a lot of YouTubers do, like, a shop. I like these do a shop where they have a lot of their revenue comes from the shops they have, like, or their merch or coaching appointments that they have or other things that they do. Like, I know Tom LaHue does Enneagram coaching. He does courses. He also works full time. I know a lot of the Enneagram coaches, not Enneagram coaches. I know a lot of other people coach. Like, a lot of people in the Enneagram coach, and that's how they make a lot of their money. So, like, YouTube is not, like, the way for them to make it. And when I see Mr. Beast, who's making, like, bucks, you're not gonna really make off with a whole lot of money on YouTube if you're going through the general, like, AdSense and, on that type of deal. I mean, you could, but YouTube is a very more algorithmic game of some videos take off, some videos don't take off. You got to be monetized first, and you got to have a certain amount of watch time. You got to have some public shorts views. Like, on my YouTube studio for my channel, like, once I pull it up, oh, my reel got posted. That's cool. My reel that I did on my friends GoFundMe, they're at 35,000 something like that. 3,500 something like that. So, so for me to become a YouTube partner at this point and this was data from 5 days ago. Showing data from 5 days ago. I have to have at least 500 subs and 3,000 watch time to be eligible to have, like, memberships or super chats or shopping, like, links on my channel. I have 22 subscribers right now. I have 44 valid public watch time hours. And I will have to have either like 3,000 hours or 3 million public short views. I have 2.5K valid public shorts viewed in the past 90 days. And if I want to get like ads on my feed, I have to have 1,000 subs and 4,000 public watch time hours or 10 million short views. So long form is the easiest way to get there, but shorts draw a lot more attention because shorts are like YouTube promotes shorts. And even like on my, like I think I did one on here where I'm gonna do something sporadic. I'm gonna see if I can actually like upload. I can copy here and I'll turn you down, Brandon. So I'm gonna go into another tab and I'm gonna hit YouTube and I'm gonna share the screen. So let me share the screen. And I'm gonna go to share screen. I'm gonna hit YouTube. And I'm gonna see if this works. So I'm sharing my YouTube screen. Literally, the second one down is shorts. You can see shorts, like all these are shorts. You scroll long form videos, playlists, more things, more videos, things like that. Videos. Explore more topics. Scrolling down further. Scrolling down further. I'm just scrolling. I'm just scrolling at this point. But literally, there's like another thing of shorts. Like literally, like shorts are short, like, and just scroll. And just scroll. Oh, it actually pops up on there. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure if it's actually going to show any of the. I can literally go on a short, hit it, and then swipe up for the next one. That's pretty much what would happen for a channel like that. I'm glad that worked, to be honest, because I know I looked back some of my lives and there was literally like nothing at all, and I was like, oh, that's kind of frustrating. So, yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much like what I like. Shorts is the way to get a lot of the money now, like to be eligible for content eligibility. But that's still the thing you have to do. Like some people are long form viewers. I'm a long form viewer person myself. Shorts don't really interest me that much. Like, I'll use shorts because it helps other people see me. And in my growth with the channel, I've gotten more sub counts from shorts than I have on my long form videos. But I also realize that some people are viewing me just for those things, like the shorts, and some people are viewing me just long form. So like I may have like, I think my analytics show me how many subs I actually have watching me. So yeah, I can check that out real quick on my phone. I mean, I could do it on analytics too. It's not like a big deal for me. But sorry, here it's easier. It's right here. Very mobile audience. Popular new viewers, age, graphic. So literally all my watch time that I've had for the past 28 days, 53% don't subscribe to me. 47% are. For a year, the ratio is 78.2% aren't subscribed, and 21.8% are subscribed to me. So I know, like, logically speaking, like, not every YouTuber has a subscriber count is going to follow them religiously to the point where they're watching actively and engaging in it. It's not real. Not realistic. And even, like, with a lot of, like, what I've watched on my demographics, like, for a while I had, like, a lot of people that watched me that were women. When I go back, because analytics are updating and changing, so now I have no stats from the past 28 days. But, like, now, if I go back for the full year, my ratio is about 50%. 52 guys, 48% girls. 48.1% girls. So there's like 0.9 somewhere that's not included in that. 90 days, it's been about the same. 28 days, I have nothing for that. So if I go back for the lifetime, still the same ratio, about that much percentage between guys and girls, like 48, 59, 52, and then 48%. So, like, in all reality, like, it is what it is. I'm surprised I've been taken off on here. I have 4 subscribers. What? Somebody subscribed again today? Oh. I had 2 subscribers in past 2 days. And then I got 1 more subscriber today. Huh. Okay. Spike. Spike in my views. I have almost 2,000 views. It spiked within the past, like, day. It's crazy to me. And even, like, when I look at, like, the graphic chart, so, like, my recent short that I did, 1.k views. Look at that graph. That little initial spike up, and then it spikes up again. And that's normally how a lot of, like, that type of thing happens. So it's not like it's something totally random. It happens. It's actively, like, YouTube growth is like that. But yeah, I went off on a total tangent talking about YouTube growth, and it's like, okay, Brandon, let's get back to reality here. But, like, a lot of people, like, going back to creativity, like, with this, like, I created this. Like, I created this image, it's nice, it's inspiring. I'm using this journal actually for, like, some of, like, my shadow work, because I'm trying to find out about myself and, like, why I act the way I act. And I also think some of it is, like, when I add the Enneagram into it, it helps me understand things better. So, like, I have one on here where I'm basically approaching it as if I'm, like, asking myself questions like a therapy session. And I said in here, like, do you think your dominant instinct plays a role in, like, why you got fired from your first job you've ever had? Because I basically got fired. Like, I got let go for personal reasons. They didn't give me, like, a really big, like, reason behind it. It was just personal reasons. And I said I probably did. I'm the sexual dominant instinct, and I want meaningful and important dialogue. In Spotify podcast about the sexual instinct, the sexual instinct isn't attractive. It discusses the sexual instinct and how the people with that dominant instinct, quote unquote, he had a purpose to, quote unquote, up or pour out themselves. They have also ended up saying that they can be misunderstood and, quote unquote, under the influence of something, or like drugs or alcohol, as they are known as, quote unquote, out there. I think my SX dominant instinct, may I put myself in jeopardy because I'm not looking that the world is out to get me or to make me timid by default. And I see the world as a stage and put my own mark on the world like a canvas. And, I asked if I feel limited. And they're like, not really. Like, is it tied to not being told what to do? Is it tied to not being told what to do stuff? Like, and yeah, I pretty much, like, kind of just, like, went with that. Like, knowing about myself is kind of what helps me know to grow. Like, oh yeah, I have this issue. And 4s don't like being told what to do. They don't like feeling limited by their autonomy. They want to have freedom to do whatever they want and not being limited by what society says we have to do. And my battery's, like, almost dead. Jeez, my percentage, 59%. That's okay. I still gotta do podcasts. I'm gonna still live stream for a while. I have no plans, so I'm gonna keep on recording until I'm done talking about what I want to talk about. That's have a long form video that may not even get any views because, in honesty, like, no one really watches me, like, consistently. I get a lot more short views, and then I take off, and then I have, like, on my live streams, on, like, my videos, I have nothing. Besides, like, a couple of videos, I have, like, 30, 40 views, and then, like, the rest are kind of just like, oh, he did videos, okay. Like, I'm still young in the business. It's not gonna be like, I'm not gonna have, like, this jump cut of, like, everything activated at the same time. I'm still young. It'll flourish, it'll build, and it'll grow. I'm not trying to build the whole house in a day. And even though it doesn't take, I can't remodel the whole store in a single day. You can't. You gotta take it in steps. You gotta move product. You gotta take things off shelves and move them to somewhere else. And then you gotta like relocate them, and you gotta reorganize everything. It's like that's how you do stuff. You don't just build it in one sitting and then bam, you're done. And I think tying back to the whole discussion of circumvention, like I'm gonna go back to what he said because I want to get his words on here. He said that the Enneagram seems to circumvent the necessity of time, faithfulness, communication, and above all, the grace of God to understand yourself and others. If I knew your number, your quote unquote number, the system then lets you know what that person is like without ever having to invest in the costly reality of building friendships and deep relationships. So, what he's saying is basically like, he says it seems to circumvent. And on earlier, he said in his video, in his reply to me, I have his whole reply copy down. Let's go back to even if we said in here like the world wants to know the future so as to perhaps manipulate it for profit. It wants to have control over someone's personhood by means of a numeric system like the Enneagram or star alignment like astrology. If I have your quote unquote number, I am the recipient of what seems like insight into who you are, easier to control, manipulate, or direct. Oh, yes, there are Enneagram masters that are people who call up for advice and direction for the day at hand, just like one trusting astrology because it's like, okay, so you're saying I'm basically gonna manipulate people, like, or I could use it to manipulate the world around me. Not necessarily, like, dude. He said in here, I have, in one of his other chapters, he says, in his other paragraphs, he says, I have researched the roots and foundations of this apparent system. And you feel like deep enough, it claims that you can fix yourself and that you have this greater knowledge of yourself. There's no need for the cross of Christ. If you can save yourself by more knowledge, the reality embedded in the Enneagram is a demonic deception that appeals to human pride. No. Like, for example, let me read some of the Enneagram 4, like, particularly the shadows. So, basically, the shadow is like basically what each typing can be known to do. And the downside of the typing and the subtype. So, for example, with my subtype is this. If this is your subtype, you analyze suffering to avoid feeling painful emotions and allowing yourself to be more conscious of an internal experience of sadness, hurt, or lack. You tend to focus on how others don't meet your needs as a way to avoid feeling a sense of shame and deficiency. And you may be unaware of how you express competitive tendencies as a way to act out your unconditional and your unconscious envy. It'd be important to notice if you hold negative feelings towards It'll be important to notice if you hold any negative feelings toward competitors or others you view as superior to you. You can be arrogant and demanding in response to not feeling understood and not getting your needs met. To grow, you must learn to manage anger and contact the pain underneath the anger. So basically, like, my subtype is trying to use anger to defend against itself, similar to an 8. But I need to understand that, I am not addressing those emotions inside. I'm just bandaging them. The self-pres shadow is this is how tight you tend towards narcissism, not realizing that you are excessively hard on yourself and never allow for lightness or fragility. Your type identify as a victim and likely never received messages in childhood that people didn't want to hear about your pain. Sorry. Your type identified as a victim and you likely received messages in childhood that people did not want to hear about your pain. So you feel you need to prove to You need to prove your worth by silently suffering and enduring hardship and pain without showing or sharing it. You may put on a happy face even when you feel deeply sad or stressed out inside. You have a tendency to carry a lot of pain without being aware of it, both psychologically and physically. You must learn how to share pain with others and allow yourself to be supported. So, if I was self-pres, dominant, and I have a little bit of that too, where I tend to like take stuff in and not express it and not share, and I feel restricted in that. And, you know, realizing that some of that may stem from childhood, like people didn't want to hear, oh, little Johnny's having a hard time. And they just want to hear about him whining and complaining because it's like, oh, don't you moan with me. I'll give you something to cry about, I'll give you something to cry about, shut up, that type of like anger towards somebody complaining about something when it may be invalid to like a kid to complain about something because, Dad, I want new batteries, it sucks. And they're crying, I just want to cry about getting shut up, and then having that like anger towards that kid. And then the kid realizing, oh, like they don't like it, it makes it like they can't have their moments because they're kids. They need to be taken care of. That's what kids need to be taken care of. That's important to them. Or even like the social foreshadow. It is just that you become overly attached to feeling and expressing suffering as a way to earn love. You take refuge in a victim mentality and must learn to work against this. So you tend to focus too much on painful emotions. And this prevents you from taking action and being practical. You tend to be overly sensitive to feelings of sadness or disappointment. You can feel guilty or for feeling and will benefit from learning to express your anger. You need to allow happiness in your life. Your belief in your own inferiority may actually hide a superiority complex or resistance to being satisfied with what's good in your life. Try to own your strength and positive attributes. So, if you look, there's nothing that inherently says you have to do this on your own with any subtypes to grow. Like, you have to look at yourself. That's pretty much it. It's open-ended. It's very open-ended. And even like it says about blind spots in here. Blind spots are what we don't often see with ourselves because we're often just wrestling with life. And life kind of sucks. So some of the blind spots and patterns that we experience as fours are we devalue the present. We're not often living in the moment. Ourselves to others, so deadly sense envy. We live in our inner world mostly. We're kind of, we're off on our own. We often assume our emotions define us. We believe in our own unworthiness because we have envy and we often feel like we're just, I am happy, so therefore I'm a happy person. If I'm sad or I'm gray, like my feelings reflect that, and so I'm not worth it because I'm gray right now. Oh, now I'm back to happy. Now I'm back to gray. Now I'm back to happy. Now I'm back to gray. Like it's just kind of like having that fluctuatingness. Or even like our shadow side of ourselves, like seeing things that we tend to feel inside and expressing how that looks. Like, for example, with my special person and seeing like me acting towards my new interest in life, my new love interest. Yes, I just said love interest, even though we're like talking for 2 weeks. Deal with it. But like, I want to like almost dominate them, but I can't. Like, I gotta take a step back. And even though you said the shadow, like, you saw the shadow side when they defined the shadow. You tend to. You may be unaware of how you express competitive tendencies, a way to act your unconscious envy towards people. Like, oh, they're getting attention. I gotta one up them. I gotta prove better than them so I get the attention back. Like that's kind of how I may operate, like in the subconscious level when I see them talking to somebody, when it's not relevant to me being like, oh, I need to prove myself to them. Like, I'm just jealous because I'm a 4. I want what I don't have. I want their attention. I want that now. Like, I want that dominating attention, but I can't get that because I don't want to crush them because I'm not that aggressive. And even like some of the things it says in here for the shadow, like, yeah, more grounded in your body so you can be more practical and focus on what you need to do right now. moving on from specific emotions by consciously shifting from feelings to mental analysis. When you realize you have unconscious taking on something from something else that's not yours, give it back to them. It's putting attention and energy outside of yourself to balance your internal self-balancing focus. Let me slow down for that. Practice putting your attention and energy outside. We're gonna slow down. Practice putting your attention and energy outside of yourself to balance your internal self-balancing focus. So, like, putting it outside of me. It's not all about me. It's not ever all about me. Like, if it's all about us, then that proves that it's not all about us, because I have to go outside of me. Blind spots, things that we don't see about ourselves. And some of the blind spots of the four is like you don't see you're not seeing what's good in life, or seeing just the negative because they're idealists, or over-identifying with the emotional aspect of life. Like, I'm just feeling all my feelings and I don't want to live in them. Seeking understanding ways that prevent it from happening. For example, some of the checklist things on here is you become aware of the ways you communicate your emotions to people who do not relate any emotions the same way you do. You realize that you need to educate people about how emotional you are and how much you need to feel understood. Avoid using language that is too sophisticated or too abstract or metaphoric, as it may prevent others from understanding you. Learn how to communicate more directly and simply with others. Explore a tendency to amp up your emotions or emotional intensity, to feeling misunderstood. I made a little note here in my piss that I made. I made a place called Ghost Epidural because I felt ghosted and I felt kind of mad about that. And I lived in that for a little bit. That was my emotional intensity, like amped up to like 11. Notice and own how important being fully understood by others is important to you, and explore what it means for you. Observe ways you try to make yourself understood by people in your life and check in with how they work. Like, for example, I make a cryptic post on Facebook and nobody responds to it because they don't either read my posts or reflect on them. But when I actually make a post that's like really direct, like, oh, hey, like, where were you all this time? Where were you all this time? Or even, like, for example, the twos. Like, I just looked over the twos for, see if I can find their blind spot on here. So for twos, this is denying your needs, like being understood. Being understood because your needs are important is important to the two. They just don't want to voice that they have needs. Or giving to get, they view things as transactional, or they fear and avoid intimacy. So some of the things they have on their checklist for the twos is recognize how difficult it is to receive the love you want and try so hard to get. Notice that even when successfully charm others, you have a difficult time accepting affection. Observe your tendency to need more appreciation no matter how much you get. Recognize your underlying motives every time you offer help or support to somebody. What do you want in return from them? Admit that you may not be as helpful as you seem, and that you sometimes use helpfulness as a vehicle for getting something for yourself. Sometimes I repeat this phrase: what do I need right now? What do I need right now? And here's another one that points out we need other people in our lives, not just us. With a psychotherapist or close friend you trust, talk about all the ways your needs were not met throughout your life. What blocked you from experiencing your needs? What do you fear will happen if you feel or express your needs? What is so bad about appearing needy to others? How do you really feel about people who are so needy? Like, if the Enneagram was all about us manipulating people, like he claims, using it for greater knowledge of ourselves, I don't need anything outside of me. Like, no, you need people outside of you. Admitting you need help is a big thing. And it's not about pride, like, in that regard. Like, I think it's a bunch of, like, just rambling. And admittedly, like, I'm just rambling on here. But I think the biggest takeaway is that the Enneagram itself is a tool, and it's always been a tool. It's not used to manipulate or charm. It could be to use to manipulate or deceive people. But you can use that for anything, even religion. Like, for example, like all the cults that are in like a lot of faiths. Or like you think of Al Qaeda, you think of Waco, Texas, you think of the televangelists, like you think of a lot of like other things like Latter-day Saints. Like there's a lot of cults that use religion to deceive and seduce and charm and manipulate people. And even like some of the right wings, like some of the right wing conservatives can be kind of like type of mindset like that, where it's King James version only, nothing else, or it's gotta be specific testament. If you don't have the same particular thing, you gotta flip nah. You know, it's the same thing. You have this mindset where you're kind of like stuck in this room, and you don't see the big picture because that limits you from what's real. And I think even with me, like I think of the Enneagram, I don't think it's limiting to me. I think the Enneagram is a great tool and it's useful to help me understand people around me because I don't have a hard time socializing people. They're like this, I can approach them as if they're that typing and helps me relate to them better. Or I don't understand why somebody relates this way or why somebody thinks that way. But then if I understand, oh, they may be this, oh, that's why they're focused on this. That's why they think about this. Like, it's why it's important to them. And I realize and sharing that with them because it helps them. They're very much invested in this. I don't even have coffee in here anymore. I'm going to take a sip. Oh, I'm empty. Okay. Empty. Just gone. Let me get more water. From my gallon of water that I have in my pocket. My big pocket. I didn't realize how much a gallon actually is. Like, if you think about it. Like, it's hard to believe it's a gallon of water. This is a whole gallon. It's hard to believe. It has a whole gallon of water. Baffling to me. And, like, the Enneagram itself is a tool used to, like, help people. And it's like faith or other things like that of that nature where you use it to help better improve people, to be close to people. And could the Enneagram be used to manipulate others? Yeah, but so could everything else. You don't necessarily need to have this structure of I'm out. It's about the actor behind it, I guess, is really what it is. There are some good people that have good intentions. There are some that are bad actors. You have that with everything in the world. You have that with YouTubers. You have that with like televangelists. You have that with like faith models. You have it with businessmen. You have it with people on the street. You have it with coworkers. You have it with friends, relationships. You have it with girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives. Like you have that no matter where you are. There are always people out there who are destined to either get with you, to scam you, charm you, to take your money and run. There are some who generally need help, and you have to differentiate between if they really need help or if they're just trying to make a quick buy out of you and getting out of the scene. It really depends. And I think ultimately with the Enneagram, like if you use it as a tool and keeping in mind it's just a tool to like connect with others, it's amoral at the best. It's amoral by itself. It's about the people who use it. It's like faith. Faith and religion is amoral. And I'm not saying a specific religion is like better than another one for sake of being on YouTube because I want to be the Enneagram itself appeals to every religion, not necessarily just like one, because you use it in 10 other religions. Or Christianity. A lot of people talk about Christianity and the Enneagram. And there's a lot of backlash with that too. Like if you look at like Melissa Doherty, I think has a video about like the Enneagram was satanic, and it's just like, and even I experienced that on my hand firsthand. They say the Enneagram's satanic. I'm just like, let's take that back quite a bit. I don't think it's satanic. You know, I don't think it's like that way. And the way I use the Enneagram is I use it as like a way for me to connect somebody, it helps me relate to them. And even like with the girl that I'm interested in now, like my love interest that I've only known for like weeks, I think she's a 5. And knowing 5, if she is a 5, it helps me relate to them better and being like, oh, well, they're this way. I guess I'm just gonna like relate to them in a safe way. I'm not gonna like push, not gonna prod. I'm not going to, you know, supersede because like even though I want to be like all in, like I gotta refrain myself, I gotta restrain myself, I gotta be a little more mellow. And it's raining again. That the rain ended, I was gonna be great for a while. I was like, oh yeah, I got my super. It's like, nope, it's not gonna. No, I may just cut off for like 2 hours and might do 2.5, depending if the rain's gonna stop. So I'm not sure. I have a lot of time to kind of sit and talk. So that's pretty much the best thing about being this is I can do whatever I need to do. Give me one moment, guys. I'm gonna like give me one moment. And I'm sorry, I had to like just yeah. Take a seat. Stretch. Stretch yourself. One, 2, 3. I'm just stretching. I've been sitting basically for almost 2 hours, so I'm probably a little bit over that, to be honest. It's been 2 hours according to my actual time in life. So, I'm on my phone looking at stuff. Oh boy. Reposting my reel. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. More. See if I give me that chance of who actually reposted it. Sorry, I got this. I'm like almost looking at my phone and realizing there's people watching. I'm like, oh, I'm just on YouTube. But perusing. I think it's gonna let me actually like actually click on the link and see who actually posted it. Undo. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna let me do that. That's a bummer. I just have to actually go into my notifications. There we go. I can actually go. There we go. And it's a no. Okay. Same thing. Just oh my god. Check out my highlights. Check my highlights. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting. And the weird thing is like that person's pretty well off. So like I don't know why they like link me to that, but it's one of those. I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever. It's no skin off my back, really. So I think it's kind of weird. I don't get it personally. But then again, I have a like I'm not opposed to it. Like having like people like, oh yeah, I can like whatever, fine. I'm not like actively engaging in that content. I was on it for like a while, but then I was like, I needed to like get off of that because it's I got bored with it, like that platform, and I wanted to use my Enneagram stuff for that. That's kind of like the reason why I joined it, because it's like, oh yeah, I can do this stuff, and it's like I got really no traction with that when I was doing it on my personal channel. And it's like, yeah, I'm just not gonna bother with it then. I'm not gonna, like, I know a lot of YouTube, like a lot of people like on the OFTV, OnlyFans TV version, the safer work version of OnlyFans. They have like some YouTubers who, like, there's probably YouTubers that are on there, but they have like musicians and songs and like projects and stuff like that, and like I'm exploring the world, and like there's that aspect, but like it's not necessarily like, and then there's like links to their personal YouTube, personal profiles, and it's all like, oh, look at what I do this content on the side, and it's just like, and then it like ruins the whole like demographics. A lot of people are actively looking at for that type of thing, and I was starting it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, and like I know how I be with my instinct and how I can like feed myself off of like that type of thing, and like it's not gonna be worthwhile because I can like try to like get with everybody I see, which is not ideal for the slightest. And I get focused on one particular person. I'm just like, I zone in on them, and it's just like, and it's like I don't get that. I'm like, okay, fine, shoot, then I'm just gonna go off. And realizing that about me is like helped me realizing like where I can fall into like pit holes and traps, stuck in stuff, and it's just the Enneagram's helped me realize a lot more about myself than if I wasn't involved in the Enneagram. And I think that's what the tool is used for in itself. It's amoral. It's very beneficial for everyone to learn about it, to know about it. And I think unlike with the MBTI and other avenues of that nature, it isn't just set up to just limit and restrain us. It's used for many avenues. It's very wide open-ended. A lot of people are into like MBTI. They're like, oh yeah, I'm an IFNJP, or no, I am an INFP, or I am an INFJ, and I'm an EFT, I'm an EST, ESTP. And like it means different things, but like I have no idea what that even means. I don't even know. I never looked into it. I don't really care to look into it. So, and there's some people like, oh yeah, if you're an ESTP, you're just like, oh yeah, you're just typing. And the Enneagram, you've got a typer. They've done that where they've posted that type of thing, and they linked in like, oh yeah, you're this typing. You relate to this. You might be this. Like on the Enneagram, use the wings to expand that because there's like 16 INF like MBTIs and 18 wings, like 18 different wings combos, because you have one type with 2 wings. So for ones, there's 1 wing 9, 1 wing 2. With the 2s, there's 2 wing 1, 2 wing 3, and so on and so forth. Until they get to the 9, and you have the 9 wing 1. Last thing is the 1 wing 9, 9 wing 1, and 9 wing 8. Like, and each of the typings are different. Like every type looks different. Like I look different from a 3 wing 4, even though I have a 4 wing 3. And a 5 wing 4 is different from a 4 wing 5 because they look differently. Because it's about how the core type affects it. I did a video about wings, and I likened it to when you mix sodas up. If you have a soda and you mix it with another soda, that soda will be affected flavoring wise. It'll be the same thing if you mix it with like the same soda but reverse the order, where you have like a baseline of Dr. Pepper, you put Pepsi in it. So you put Pepsi, you put a little bit of Dr. Pepper in it. Like it's gonna look differently. It's gonna taste a little differently. It's about the flavoring of it, how you mix things together. I think I did that in my very first video with the and with the wings. When I talked about them, I have a place for the wings too if you want to look at that. I remember rolling that in here too. This thing that I remember, like I do in my videos and I forget about them like firsthand immediately, like, oh yeah, I did this. Oh, I did this. Okay, and then I just like forget about it. So, but like I've enjoyed like making content on YouTube. I've enjoyed this avenue. I've learned about myself a lot of the time. I have 47% of battery left. We're good. Good for streaming. We're good. Okay, good. And Enneagram's about learning with each other. It's about tools being it's about the tools of it. I've enjoyed making connections with people. I've enjoyed the creativity that it brings me. Excuse me. I think a lot of people can benefit from the Enneagram, and I use it almost every day. it may not be like things I actively like engage in. Like I'm not always making videos, but like I'm editing videos. I am thinking about the Enneagram. I listen to podcasts when I'm at work about it. Like I listen to like Tom LaHue. I watch him on YouTube. I listen to him on Spotify. I listen to You Gotta Type on Spotify. I have him on YouTube. I have him on both my channels. I have him on my sub channel, my this channel, and I have him on my private one. You see, I follow like the Pies Academy. I have other YouTubers that I watch on YouTube on my specific channel here because I have them right there on my references. And it's one of those things like I've enjoyed the connections with people. I enjoyed that connectivity. I enjoyed the creativity on it. And the Enneagram helps me relate to the world around me because if I know somebody's just typing, it helps me relate to them better to meet them with what they need met back to me. And I know it helps me, like if I was the recipient of that, I'd feel seen and valued and treasured. And I feel important. Like if you know that I'm just typing, like I'm a 4, and you're like, oh well, Brandon doesn't like to be told what to do. Well, what if I suggest something to him? What if I'm like, hey Brandon, what if you did this? Versus like, hey, you need to do this. Like I may look and be like, no, ignoring it bent. Like if you tell me what to do, like somebody on YouTube on one of my shorts I posted recently that went semi-viral is I end up getting told you need to go take a shower and shave, and I was like, and they notice my facial hair because I can't grow a beard. I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like I don't care about that. Like I don't need to worry about shaving. I like this. I like this. Do I want to have a beard? No. Do I care about how that looks to the world around me? No. Go and get bent, dude. And then I asked him, like, I don't know how his tone is, how he's like achieving. Like, I asked him, what's your tone like? And I was just like, you know what? Whatever. I ended up like deleting it, removing the comment because it's not worth it, in my opinion. To just have that like linger, and I posted, and it's like, whatever, dude. If you want to make comments and just like, because I'm talking about like that GoFundMe from my friend of mine that I briefly mentioned before, where they're looking at getting 3,500 and some total like funds. I don't know if they actually like increase themselves, but I don't even know where they're at now on their totals that they were looking at. I can probably pull up on my phone. They are sitting in still the same number. So 3,553. No, yeah, 3,535. The total goal. They ended up adding the recipient on there at this point. So I know they're actively looking at they're looking at this too. It's not just me like looking at it. And someone liked it, someone hearted it, the recipient hearted it. Like it's things like I think hopefully like they'll actually get that goal and meet that goal. I've been promoting and talking about it a lot on YouTube, on specifically my channel here, because I know that I get views on here and it takes off. Like even on like a lot of my shorts I have like for my top content that I've had, the top ones have been shorts. So like my GoFundMe that I posted recently has on 995 views. My fourth wall that I did the merch promo in has 595 views. Like the other GoFundMe I've had before, it's just like 129 views. My experience that I've had with my, Enneagram shirt being controversy has been 91 views. And then I have the integration video at 9 views. So like literally a lot of my views have been the ones that are like shorts, and a lot of people find me on the shorts feed. And 4 subscribers, content audience. Yeah, literally like how people find me within the last 8 days. 85.5% I found me via shorts. So like I know shorts is how you get a lot of views and you get a lot of content like seen. So like I know that's part of the game. I'm not bashing people for doing that. It's not like I'm gonna be like hateful on people, but like, oh yeah, you did like no, dude. Come on. Get real. And like a lot of people find me via shorts. I get a lot of attention that way. I get a lot of views. And it's more just like understanding what things are. Oh, there's another one about how to find your typing for trending results. Well, I already had that kind of covered. I did a video about I did some videos about it. I want to see if I actually pop up on the result here. I may not even pop up, but I mean, we'll see. But yeah, it's funny. I love the people I have on here I watch, and it's like people I have to engage in, and they have their whole feed. Like, you got type pops up, Abby Howell comes up. A lot of people like a lot of Abby Howell comes up, and you got type comes up, Abby Emmons, Dr. Mike. You got type, Hillary McCaskey. She's another Enneagram coach on YouTube. Christina S. Wilcox, your Enneagram coach, comes up on here. Frank James. And some of these are more just like, you've psyched to go. It pops up. And some of these are like, they have the words typing and test together, and so they'll pop up in the results. And they're like the ones that have like a lot of name views. Like, I think the lowest one on here that has a good amount of views is 1.2K for long form videos. So yeah, 1.2K. So yeah, it's a lot of those things that it's just like you have this like the name stuff is gonna take off. Like, I'm sure I may pop up in the fringes of that, but like, you know, I have a playlist designated for that type of thing, and I walk through my story and my examples of it, of how I walk through my typing. So some of these things are like evergreen content. That's what the name is, evergreen content. It's going to be something that's relevant to people. They're going to look at it. They're going to learn about themselves, because the Enneagram is a great tool to learn about yourself. It's about learning how you operate, how you operate in the world around you. And so his whole grief is like, it circumvents our, I'm lost count. Oh, so he says it circumvents my, circumvents the necessity of understanding myself and others. And he says earlier in this that the problem arises that finite humans can never plumb the true depths of their own spiritual needs. They did not create themselves, and they cannot restore themselves by more knowledge of the reality of God's will and purpose for people. The Enneagram establishes the parameters for who you are mentally and emotionally by assigning a number to you after you submit yourselves to the test. Like, and he goes on about like the whole Enneagram, the whole satanic line of Garden of Eden, that somehow God was holding out on humanity becoming its best. I stated that we were never know the meaning of life with just more knowledge. It says it circumvents. That paragraph I focused on. True discernment is discerning the difference between what is true and what is almost true. It's not a function of pragmatics, but it relies upon the Holy Spirit to apply the mighty word of God. Like, you know, from his understanding, that makes total sense from his perspective. But I don't think he realizes that I'm trying to also like talk about like the Enneagram mechanics of itself and applying it to a bigger spectrum. Like, there's a lot of people that see me on YouTube, and I mean, it's not substantial. And I can do the view count on my studio app. I have literally, let's go to my overview, my watch time, my view count. If I go for my lifetime view count is sitting at just over 10,000. 10,444 views as of right now for the lifetime. And you can see like the spikes on here pop up. Like, I have gotten to the point where, you know, a lot of people are viewing me, And I'm sure not every one of those people believe in a God and the Bible. There are some in my audience tab. If I pull up the geography that I am at for the lifetime of the channel, there's people in Pakistan, there's people in, the Netherlands, there's people in France, there's people in Germany. There's, other people of different religions probably in Pakistan and over in the Middle East or Oriental region. If I pull up my studio, see if I can pull it up on here. I'm going to go into YouTube Studio. Not YouTube Studio. But let me do this. I could probably share the screen, so why not? I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to pop myself over to... Before I do that, I'm going to make sure I go live so I can see the process, see what doesn't come up and what does come up. So, one moment, guys. I'm going to grab my live stream. I'm going to scroll down to where I'm at now. I'm going to share my live to what's over here. And I'm going to share that stream. So you go pop up 3, 2, 1. If I go into my channel, it doesn't pop up yet. It's loading. There. Connection's unstable. That explains why. Are we live again? Let's see. Are we live again? Okay, we're live. Okay, great. Awesome. So, see, I can access my channel. I can view my channel. I can view my stream. Studio. So my analytics, if they'll actually give me I have the black screen. And looking back, that pops up on there. If I go to my audience, I go to, let me just automatically scroll down. There we go. I can scroll down my pad on here. There's data, geographies. I'm going to hit this, view. And I go for my time. The advanced view. Down. Find this automatically. Boom. Yeah, it's the same thing I just showed on there. Netherlands, Australia, UK is all the regular speaking countries or English speaking countries right there. So literally, Pakistan. It's kind of cool. I know some of my videos are also seen in overseas because my dub subtitles are Chinese, and probably Germany is one of them. My German subs, I get a lot of there are people of other ethnicities probably on my channel watching me, other faiths, other type of backgrounds, and the Enneagram itself can be used in tandem with those things. It's not necessarily just limited to Christianity or Judaism or Islam or things of that nature. And I'm gonna turn off my video because now I'm looking at myself and it's 401k. So yeah, 401k there. I'm seeing myself. And just not drain my battery all the time because I can kind of suck. And Facebook posts, replay my snap. I'm gonna get rid of that. Bam, 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 bam. But yeah, I think a lot of the time with people saying all these things dude, it's not that deep. Calm down. Oh, that's cool. I have to look that up. I got a message from my one dating app I'm on. Yes, I'm on a dating app, and I'm talking about me interested in this girl that I'm soul crushingly loving at work because that's how I am. But I think the biggest thing, kind of wrapping this up at 2.5 hour mark, is for the last 13 minutes of the stream, basically we are by nature very much invested in learning about ourselves and other people. That's going to be the time we struggle with all the time from childhood, and even going back to the Garden of Eden, at the fall of man. the whole thing wasn't about, in the sense of like, I mean, it was kind of like, did God say you truly die? Because in the context of the Garden of Eden, like Adam and Eve were told not to eat from the fruit of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and never told not to eat from the tree of life, the two fruits. And then Eve was tempted by the serpent, and the serpent said, "Did God really say, you know, did God really say that?" And then he said, "If you eat this tree, you'll be like God, knowing good and evil," which was true. And we didn't truly die from that tree initially. Like we didn't get struck down and bam. But because we ate from that, we got cursed with knowledge of consciousness. We got cursed with knowing if we were naked and exposed in the elements, because immediately they realized they were naked and they hid. And then God said to them when he went to go walk with them, "Who told you were naked? You know, who told you this? How did you find this?" That's why we were close now because of that. Because we were naked and we don't want to be exposed for that, because it's shameful to be seen as naked. And shameful state. But I think the biggest takeaway is that when we in our proxy are seeking knowledge, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I heard from God," and like I haven't ever heard a voice of God. I've never heard him. I've never sensed anything. And sometimes the way people describe faith and like God like talking to them, it's almost like you're kind of stretching for it. Like from what the way I see it, and like I didn't grow up in the church, so like I didn't have that like I never saw it physically like applied in real life scenarios. And contrary to that with the Enneagram, like not saying like God speaking to people through, bam, it's there, like that can happen. But like with the Enneagram, I've seen actual stuff applied to it. I have people, and knowing the why people behave that way helps me relate to them better. And it's not necessarily to like seduce them, to charm them, to dominate them, to control them. Because frankly put, like some types don't want to be controlled. The eights are always like, "No, I'm gonna fight you. You can go and get bent, you can go off, and I don't care. I'll fight you. I'll roll you. We gotta roll for the underdog because them guys they need to be champion, they need to be saved." I'm like, "I will kick you to the curb, and I will drop kick you, and like they get all aggressive." And even like the fours don't know what to do either. And even like the sexual fours, the angry four, like, "Oh, you're saying I should do this? Oh, go and get bent over, and they get angry because you're telling me to do something and I want to do it. Like, "Oh, you go and do this thing." "Oh, you okay, buddy? Get bent. You don't like me to do this?" "Well, like, oh, I get bent. I don't care. I'm doing what I want to do. I can't wear this here. Are you saying that you don't like the color green? Because I'm wearing a green color. Are you saying I can't do that? Are you prejudiced against green? Did somebody wear green and they beat you up and you were a kid?" Like defensiveness is kind of like that reactivity from, but knowing that typing, it's just like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like, arguably speaking, like the Enneagram is amoral. It can be used for good and for wrong. It's like everything else. The internet's amoral. Phones are amoral. Anyone can misuse anything in the world because that's how people can be. They're vile. They're very much dependent on other things in life. And in the end of the day, it's just a tool. It doesn't necessarily negate anything else. It's a tool used to charm and manipulate and do what else they want to do with it, because people are people and people kind of suck. I think ultimately at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway is, it's all about the actor behind it. I'm at 39% on my battery here, like just drops down. But like I think all of us at the end of the day really love the Enneagram in the context of how it's used to help us to grow, to be better off, to engage in, and ultimately like we are valuable, and we use the Enneagram in that context of it helps us adapt, to grow. And yeah, like the Enneagram itself is amoral. It's like the internet, like phones. It's about the actor behind them. It is always one of those things where there could be bad actors. And there's a possibility there are some teachers on the Enneagram who are just out to get somebody and deceive and manipulate. Some of the gurus out there could be bad, that could be down bad for that. If the kids still say down bad. I don't know. And ultimately, like what happens is we need to be aware of that, because if we aren't aware of it and we just happen as they go by, we can be seduced into the wrong category there. So, and even like that whole thing about he said to me, like I gotta discern, I gotta be like knowledgeable, and like like some of his arguments that he made, I made better arguments myself. In all honesty, like because he kind of nitpicked verses in his thing to me, and he missed the bigger context of the scripture passage there. And like I said in my some of the things I said in here, let me minimize my screen here. I saw it popped on here. So I went off on a tangent initially, like explaining everything, and I was like, let's see here. I went down. But I said in here, but he doesn't make the argument in his comment. And he said in his comment about how it's like astrology. Because I went down the whole avenue of knowing things, and I likened it to therapy, I likened it to understanding each other, and it's like basically a counseling service, essentially. And it's unrestricted to just one ethnicity, one belief system, one demographic. It's now available for anyone to look up and explore. And I referenced the biggest portion that he wrote out, and I'm just like, and he used 3 different translations in here. He used the NLT, the New Translation, and the, see if I can find, I said the other one we used on here. He used the Holman Christian Version, the HCSB. SV. And I said arguably, like, he makes the main argument is this, and but he didn't argue this. He did this. He said this. And ultimately, like, we are by nature going to like want to explore other avenues of knowledge. Like, we're humans. It's what we do. We explore. We have AI now. And AI has all the knowledge of the world, apparently, according to what, Google says and AI says. And ultimately, like, that's not always true. Like, it's made by people and it's valuable. So we need to double check it. And people write books about the Enneagram. People write books about faith. They write about things of that nature, like things of like spiritual matters and like understanding each other. And I think the Enneagram itself is very useful, and it's practical in knowing about other people, how to relate to them, and how to become more aware of ourselves and where we struggle. Like, because I'm aware of my knowledge, my instinct, and my nature, and how I want to control and dominate my person in my life. Like that new love interest, like I want to dominate the conversation, and I don't need to dominate the market with her. I need to restrain myself. I need to step back. I need to be a little more aware of like, oh, I'm really jealous about, oh, that's my instinct talking. Okay. Let's just take a step back. Let's pull away. Let's just deal with life. I'm not going to nitpick. I'm not going to fight with them. I'm not going to like try to bludgeon them. I'm just going to have to deal with life accordingly. That's the way it is. Realizing that I have this instinct helps me also become aware of how I relate to people in a way that helps me be healthy and not destructive. If I live in my instinct and I just do what I did with my first person in my life, where they were like my love interest, and I totally ruined the relationship at that point with them, never got it back. If I live in that and let that dominate me, it's not going to be beneficial. And I repeat the same pattern of offenses, same pattern of behavior. where I go, I hurt, I move on. I go, I hurt, I move on. And I repeat that all my life. I'm 29. I'm going to be 30 this year. If I repeat that going into my 60s, I'm not going to have a serious relationship with somebody. And I don't really want that right now. I've thought about maybe dating somebody and maybe I'll consider dating maybe in the long term, but I may not. I may just enjoy being in the moment with somebody, being connected and being tuned with them, being engaging in life with them, sharing fun stuff. And I got myself as a person now. Well, say my love interest. I'm myself as a person. It's hard not naming people, being like, oh yeah, this person, because I think of them as my love interest, like sharing that dichotomy. My love interest at my new job, my remodeling job, I realize I have this, since I have this instinct and I want to push and encroach and dominate, I can't be that way. I can't dominate them. And if they're a 5, they don't really want that at all. They want to be calm. They want to be kind of respected and valued. And they want somebody to interact with them when they're ready for it. They're not suddenly anyone pushing on them and prodding on them and pulling them. Now, their instinct may differentiate with that, and they may be, depending on how their instinct manifests and being a 5, but they are a 5. They may not be a 5. I know they're probably not a 9. And so realizing that, oh, they may be this instinct and that may play out differently with them, and knowing that better helps me relate to them more intentionally and having a good relationship with them. Because ultimately, we need to have a community around us. We need to have friends. We need to have social gatherings. We need to have people in our lives that we're connected to. If we don't have that, well, what's the point of living to begin with? What's the point of having friendships? What's the point of relationships? And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up pretty much right about now. I'm done ranting at this point. I've talked for 2.5 hours according to here. I've been on my computer for 3 hours. So I'm going to leave it at this. If you do want to look at my Enneagram website shop link, you can. I'll link that below in my comments or my description. I'll probably link the other things I mentioned on here in my live stream description or comment down below. If you guys want to see that, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's no obligation. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Take care, guys. Goodbye.